Okay, so in this section we're going to learn how to write the equation of a circle, how to draw a circle given its center and its radius, or given its center and a point on the circle. So first of all, a circle is a set of points that are equidistant from a center. The normal equation that you're going to see of a circle is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And r is the radius. So it's going to give you it as it's squared. And an example of this would be, oh, I get the pen here. An example of this one right here has a center of 0, 0, and the radius is equal to just r in this case. So let's try an example with actual numbers. You would see something like x squared plus y squared equals 16. So that means that the center, I would ask you to find the center, and the center is 0, 0. And the radius is going to be equal to the square root of this number, and the square root of this number would be 4, so the radius of this is 4. Now in order to graph this, you're going to graph the center first. So 0, 0, I'm going to put a point there, and then the radius is 4, and the radius is 4 all the way around the circle, and it's very hard to do this on a graph. However, it is easy to figure out 4 spaces away directly on top, directly below, directly to the right, and directly to the left. And then you're just going to kind of do your best to create a circle connecting those 4 points. And that would be how you graph that circle. Now it is going to get a little bit more complicated here, this next type of equation. So this is if the center is not at 0, 0. So when the center is not at 0, 0, here is what you would do. Your center is equal to hk, and your radius is still r. So I'm going to give you another example here. And the example is going to be if I have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 5 squared equal to 9. So your first step is to be able to find the center, and the center in this case, remember, is x minus h. So x minus h would be 2, and then it should be y minus k. So at k in this case, in order to get a plus here, it'd have to be negative 5, so k is negative 5. My center is 2, negative 5. The radius is going to be the square root of that last number, so 3. My center is 2, negative 5. I draw the dot there, and my radius is 3, so I'm going to pick the point 3 to above it, 3 below, 3 to the right, and 3 to the left. Is that 3? 1, 2, 3 here. Oh boy. There we go. And then just do your best to connect those circles. It's a whole lot easier on paper instead of on the computer. So that's how you would find the center and the radius of a circle that is not in what we call the perfect standard form. So what happens when you have an equation that is not even in a form like this, and it looks something like this? So the question might say, put the following into center radius form, and center radius form is what we just learned in this slide here. So what you need to do in this case is complete the square. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, and there should be no questions after you learn this. The first thing you're going to do is reorder it so that all of your x's are left on the left-hand side. So I have an x here and an x here. They're already on the left-hand side, so I'm just going to rewrite them together. X squared minus 4x, and I'm going to put plus dot dot dot. Then I'm going to do the y's. So I have y squared minus minus 6y plus dot 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 equals, I'm going to move this 8 to the other side. I do that by subtracting 8 from both sides, so minus 8 on both sides. Okay, now we need to complete the square. So just like in the last slide, go back to it here, we have x minus something squared, or x plus something squared. That's what I want to make just this part look like. So I am going to use red for the x's. And I want to make it so I have x plus or minus something squared. And now the trick to doing this is just to know that it's always, your second number is always going to be half of the coefficient of x. And since my coefficient of x is -4, half is -2. This is going to be x minus 2. I'm going to change the color here, and I'm going to do blue for y, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So plus sign in the middle, and now I'm going to do y. Half of the coefficient of y would be -3, so I'm going to do -3 squared equals. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to red. We have to finish this equation. I'm going to go back to the x's here. If I were to FOIL this out, I would get x squared minus 4x plus 4. So this looks just like what we have up here, except instead of my dot dot dots, I'm going to write exactly what I would have gotten if I FOILed it out. I would have had +4, so I'm going to add 4 to this side. If I add 4 to one side, I have to add 4 to the other side. We're going to do the same thing for y now. So now, if I FOILed this out, I would get y squared minus 6y's plus 9. So that means that this should look exactly like this, except I'm missing part of it where the dot 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 is. So I'm going to put my plus 9 here. And if I add 9 to one side, I have to add 9 to the other side. Plus 9. Oh, blue on blue. It's hard to see. You know it's 9. And now I can do this whole part. And I should be able to do this in my head. -8 plus 4 plus 9 is equal to 5. So this is your equation in center radius form. The last thing that I would ask you to do is to tell me what is the center, what is the radius. Center should be easy. Remember, it's x minus h, so h would be 2. And then it's y minus k, so k would be 3. 2, 3 is the center. What's the radius? Remember, the radius, if I go back, is r equals r squared, so that means the radius in this case would be the square root of 5. Center 2, 3, radius would be the square root of 5. Okay, let's go back to a little bit easier one. So now you need to write the equation of the circle given the center and the radius. This should be super, super easy. So you know that the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. Just fill in the points. So x minus -3 is the same as x plus 3, and I'm going to square it, plus y minus k, or y minus 4 squared, and then it's equal to the radius squared. What is the radius? The radius is 6, so it's going to be 36. So this is the equation of your circle. That one's super easy. Now, this next one is just going to get a little bit more difficult. So the next one, you're given the center and a point on the circle, write the equation of. Okay, so what you need to be able to do here is you need to be able to find the radius. And the only way to find the radius, if we picture this, it's a circle, we have the center, and we know some point on the circle. Remember, all the points of a circle are equal distance from the center, so this would be the radius. This is what you're trying to find. So on this circle, sorry, that's an R, radius, we need to find the distance from the center to the point on the circle. And the only way to find the distance is to use the distance formula. So the radius is equal to the distance, and we know that distance is equal to the square root of x minus x, so -9 minus -4 squared, plus 8 minus 6 squared. And if we go through this entire thing, we would get -9 plus 4, that's -5, squared, plus 8 minus 6 is 2, squared. This is equal to the square root of 25 plus 4, which is equal to the square root of 29. And now the question is asking you to write the equation. So now I have the center, I know the radius, I should be able to write the equation very easily. It will be x minus negative 4 squared plus y minus 6 squared is equal to the radius squared. Well, the radius is the square root of 29. So if I square the square root of 29, I'm just going to get 29. Don't get confused with that. This is the hardest problem that there's going to be. And oh no, I'm running out of battery. I need to plug this in. Okay, we're just going to go really, really fast and finish this lesson first. So, the last thing that you're going to need to be able to do is, given the graph, write the equation of the circle. So, this should also be pretty easy. Given the graph itself, I'm going to give you the center, or it should be very easy to find. What is the point in the center? It would be 2, negative 3. So, 2, negative 3 is the center. And all you need to be able to tell me is the radius. And remember, you can go in any direction. If I were you, I would go directly above, directly below, directly to the right, or directly to the left. Otherwise, you're going to need to use the distance formula. So the radius here we can see is 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could do it in every direction just to check. Yes, it's 4 in every direction. So that means my equation would be x minus 2 squared plus y minus negative 3, so y plus 3, squared, is equal to the radius squared. And if the radius is 4, 4 squared would be 16. That's it. That's all for this section. That's everything you need to know about circles, writing the equations of circles, and graphing circles. You're going to do practice problems on this, and then we're going to have a quiz on circles later on.